Then Nick's taking all of these breaks during this stream. He gets crushed by Keanu so badly that he has to leave, and he comes back, and his voice is different, kind of like mine because I'm losing my voice. Mm-hmm. He comes back, and his voice is different. Tell me when I'm telling lies. Send me a cease and desist. Sue me into oblivion. He's taking these breaks because he's doing whippets. It is a photograph of a man falling apart, like as a slideshow, like a flip book, just watching a man fall apart. So look, congratulations to Keanu. Amazing work. These guys trying to control the narrative as hard as they are tells you one thing. They know they lost. They know it's a bad look. If I'm Patrick,
why are they giving a bad look more bad looks? That's right. My point. Like, you get a bad look and you're like, and then they keep going back on, no, we can save it. We'll do a new look to save the old look. And it's always worse. Just stop.
Honestly,
stop thinking.
Dude, if I'm Patrick, I snake the Nick right now. You know?
That's one of the takes I heard was that, like, Melton was laughing at Nick, but I don't know.
But he doesn't have the balls to come out and say it. He doesn't have the ball because then he'll lose his access. Mm-hmm. And if Melton doesn't have me and he doesn't have Nick, Melton goes back to 30 live viewers. Now, Nick says to Keanu, you took someone I love and you shredded them apart. No, she didn't. I'll tell you this. Keanu has big brass balls because I hated Keanu's guts. In October, she picked up the phone and called me while I was at a Gopher game with my girlfriend, and I didn't answer. Later that day, she texts me, and she goes, Aaron, I'm sorry for everything that's happened. I apologize. Let's put it in the past. I need to talk to you. After the game, I go home. I call her. I say, what's up? April's been on the phone with me. She's been calling me. She's frantic. She's on whippets. She's doing whippets in her truck. She's talking about how emotionally abusive Nick is. It's the worst situation she's ever been in. She's in a really terrible spot. I need her parents' phone number. I need to contact her parents. She needs help. And I said, look, I'll give you the phone number. And then that's it. Mm-hmm. This continued on for weeks, if not months. And Keanu kept talking to me, texting me, whatever. We overcame all of our problems and everything else. I apologized to her. She apologized to me, but I didn't think she needed to. I sent a picture. It was a terrible, stupid thing to do. She doesn't have to apologize for that.
You made your own bed.
And she told me numerous times, she goes, Nick and April both manipulated me. They knew which buttons to push to get me to admit all these things. I'm like, water under the bridge. Don't worry about it. And this kept going. I know that she's not lying when she says that she was talking to her until January because I knew. I was talking to April around December, January. And I think Nick got wind of that and he hit the block button. And then she deleted all of her socials. It was literally after her and I were DMing about the phone thing. Mm. So now you have this thing where Nick, again, when he gets confronted by a woman especially, he loses his mind when he doesn't have control anymore. And I will say this. This is kind of my final thought on the thing before I go to everyone else's question. This isn't funny to me, like watching him with Keanu. Like the own is funny, but the reality of the situation is not funny. Make no mistake. Nick will do this to anyone. He's abusive. He's out of control. Nobody around him is safe. Anyone who is in the vicinity of Nick Rekieta is not safe. They are prone to emotional and psychological abuse, but he's a desperate man whose life has completely fallen apart and he can't take responsibility. He will keep lashing out, and sometimes that lashing out accelerates. Nobody who is in Nick Rekieta's vicinity is safe. That's a fact. JD Straight Shot with $5 says, how much did Nick's mom and dad pay April for an NDA? I don't think they did. There was one other thing in that interview I forgot to mention. He said that after they cast her out of the side whore house, that she was put up in Nick's parents' house. Now, if Bob and Celeste Rekieta knew about that, them both. They're animals. They're disgusting human beings. They're giant pieces of shit. And now you realize how they raised a little sociopath. If they didn't,
because they kept her in their house.
Yes. If they didn't know what because then basically you've said,
they're holding on to their son's side.
Sure,
piece.
Nick, I'll hang on to your side hoe for you. Now, I know that Nick's mother has posted a lot of pictures on social media with pineapples and shit like that, and that's the swingers code and everything. Nick's a swinger. The pineapple doesn't fall far from the tree, perhaps. Maybe. I don't know. If his parents knew, then Bob Rekieta is a soulless, gutless piece of shit twice over because he lied in court for his son, at putting his grandchildren at risk to cover up for his shitbag drug addict kid. If he knew about this and stashed the side hoe, then he's really an unethical, spineless, gutless worm. If they didn't know, and they were, say, down in Florida, so Nick stashed the side hoe in that house, that is absolutely a control move on Nick's part because he didn't want her going back to Litchfield, making up with all of her family and telling all the tales. So, I don't know, man. It depends. If his parents knew, they're cretins and scumbags. If they didn't know, just more Nick manipulation. The monster that they raised. So as far as an NDA, I don't think April signed an NDA. It's funny that Nick goes, when he was losing the argument to Keanu, he goes, and she wanted to get away from the internet and all this shit. It's like, oh, is that why you went to Hackamania and read all her embarrassing texts? You can't have it both ways, you chicken shit. Either she wants to get away and you love her and you respect that, or you're so angry at me. And let's not pretend this isn't all about me. Let's not pretend this isn't about me.
And may I say, that's the saddest part of this whole thing, is I've watched this whole thing from Jump Street, and I've been like, come on.
Whoa.
Over Imholt? Really?
I got good tits. Keanu saw a friend who was in dire need, and she did everything she could to help. Sometimes you got to shine light on shit, sunlight being the best disinfectant, to try and wake her up and get her out of there. Keanu did what she could. $5 from Lucky Lime says, you take a vacation and you come back winning. Incredible. Is it even possible to lose at this point? Let me tell you something. I got my losing out of the way right away. I stacked my L's when I involved myself with this person. And I shamed my marriage, and I scandalized my family, and I did all this terrible shit. I got my L's out of the way nice and early. Is it even possible to lose at this point? Not as long as I keep telling the truth. Not as long as I keep saying, yeah, that was shitty things to do. I've gone through therapy. I've improved myself. I've done the hard work. So no, is it possible to lose? No, because you just keep laughing at these people as they try to control their own little realities instead of admitting what they are. So no, I don't think it's possible. I saw at one point when Keanu called out Nick for the daughter testing positive, I saw Carl go, and Keanu, are we going to pretend drugs aren't cool? Carl, stop. Your cool barometer has been broken since you were 3. Scarebro with $4.99 says, the nanny gave my daughter alcohol. Well, tell the cops. No, I don't want to re-traumatize my daughter, while he goes online and re-traumatizes his entire family. Bravo. When it suits you, right, Nick? When it suits you. That's the other thing. Here's an amazing thing that Nick Rekieta does. He f***ed up so hard, it covers up his prior f***ups. Says, do you regret going on Kino Casino 11 months ago to tell the secrets, including sexual info about others? In hindsight, did you take the high ground? I would not have gone. The last show I would have gone on would have been MLC when I found out they were arrested. Would I have gone on Kino Casino? No, I would have done it on my own program. I think PPP's great. I know he doesn't like me, but I think PPP's great. I think Worski's awesome. He's always been very cool to me. I think their show is awesome. I still haven't watched it from yesterday, but I wouldn't go on that show. I wouldn't go on anyone else's show. I would keep it all here on Steel Toe. Look, they all got arrested in an embarrassing situation. The whole internet was going off about what they were doing. It was very obvious what was going on, even when I was there with the hot tub stream. when the information started coming out from the probable cause, and they were like multiple people around the community, the church, the schools, they all knew there was some inappropriate relationship going on. Honestly, I spent hours talking to Dan at Easter like he was one of my in-laws. Yeah, they thought it was fucking weird. They thought it was a little weird that we were there at Easter. So, yeah, they knew. And I decided, you know what? Sunlight, best disinfectant. I'm going to come out and tell. And you notice I told my story, the shit that happened to me. If other people were in my story, hey, these are the consequences of our actions. But I needed to say, hey, you know, here it is, down and dirty. I told everyone in my family. I told all of my friends. I'm like, this is what I did. I'm really sorry, so on and so forth. You know, so no, I don't regret sharing the information because everyone involved is a public figure. And everyone was going to know anyway. So I didn't want it to look like I was trying to hide things and then they come out and I look extra shitty. I'm like, all right, here you go. Here's what I did. Guilty. Not going to run from it. Here's my part in it. Other people, you heard me say multiple times, hey, what about these two? What about these? I didn't see any of that. I wasn't
there for that.
I will talk about what I saw. I will talk about what I experienced. I have that right. That is my prerogative. That's what I did. I'd do that all over again. Would I do it on Kino Casino? Probably not. It looked a little grandiose, but I was really mad and I was really humiliated and I was really, you know.
You were a jilted lover.
A little, but I was also more like angry at myself for what I put 8 children through. You know, there's a lot of guilt. Yeah. There's a lot of guilt there. And when you have that much guilt, the best thing to do is absolve yourself from it. Admit it, confess. I always tell other people that. I'm like, absolve yourself.
Right, but some people will take the term absolve yourself, meaning, all right, so if I divert it to somebody else, I've been absolved.
No, absolving myself of the guilt.
Right. But I'm just saying some people misinterpret that into, like, I'm just saying just from what I've seen others do. It seems like when they look at absolving themselves of guilt, they figure out a way to put it on somebody else, thusly not needing to be absolved.
I see what you mean. Like maybe trying to get someone charged with a crime, even if other people don't necessarily want to go with you on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe doing that twice might make you look like an extra manipulative piece of shit.
Kind of.
Writing texts and paragraphs and all sorts of things for other people and putting their name on it might be a little shitty too.
Yeah, borrowing their devices.
I would argue.
Stuff.
I would argue.